Hey, blessings to your family. Hope you're doing well. This is Zion. I want to really chop it up with you on a whole nother level and share some things with you. And I'm really sure that it's going to be a blessing to you. Just do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button. Definitely do so. And also like and share and comment this particular video with your family, your friends, your co-worker, your pastor, whoever. Definitely share this. Also, I want to invite you to help support us in our endeavor to make sure that we help young men, specifically between 18 and 24-year-old fathers who were incarcerated, rebuild their lives one brick at a time. And also those young men who are on the cusp to actually stepping into the prison industrial complex by way of the court system to be a barrier, if you will, between them and prison by offering mentorship, by offering recidivism prevention life skills curriculum, by offering a support group of a community to plug them into resources that they need, but also to be a network of accountability as well as encouragement to help them continue to rebuild their lives and to see their own worth, not only for themselves, but for the children that they have fathered, that they can see their fathers in a different light because the father has stepped out of darkness into the light. So definitely support us if you will. Just follow us at www.pinnacleoutreach.org. That's pinnacleoutreach.org. And also hit up my website that's in conjunction with the nonprofit 501c3 organization. It is theshamefreelife.com. theshamefreelife.com, because a lot of our issues, if we're just truthful and honest, it is rooted in rejection that is even rooted in shame. And until we get down to the nitty gritty, until we get down to the crust of the issue, which is shame, to lay the axe to the root of shame, we will continue to bear fruit of addiction. We will continue to bear fruit of hopelessness and all other types of issues because we have yet to lay the axe to the root of the problem, which is shame. So that brings us to yesterday. Something took place, and I began to meditate on this yesterday, throughout yesterday and last night. It kind of infiltrated my dream last night. I had a great state of rest last night, and just meditating on what we're getting ready to chop it up about. We're getting ready to talk about yesterday, April the 14th. We're talking about grace here because I believe that there's power in numbers. I'm not the mystical, this whole mystical, esoteric, and just so above your head and just all deeply entrenched into Egyptian mysteries and all. No. From a biblical perspective, numbers are powerful. God speaks to us also through numbers as well. Numbers is so much energy that's connected to numbers. God himself is spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. The one true living God, Yahweh. He is energy because God is spirit. You represent energy. Your spirit is nothing more than a mass of energy. When this spirit goes, this body goes. And so on yesterday, Sunday, April the 14th, take 1 plus 4 equals 5. We're still talking about 5. 5 from a biblical standpoint means grace. 5 means unmerited favor that God gives us. 5 means grace. Grace is a gift that God gives us. Not that we deserve it, but he gives us grace. Why does he give us grace? To be able to do what we cannot humanly do in and of ourselves. We don't have enough physical strength. We don't have enough intellectual prowess to do it. We don't have enough anointing to do it. As a matter of fact, without grace, we can do nothing. And so on yesterday, April the 14th, 1 + 4 = 5, grace, something monumental took place. And I'm not trying to look into it more than what it is, but at the same time, I don't want to overlook what God is saying to you and I on today. So on yesterday, Tiger Woods just won his 5th Masters Championship. 5th. Number 5 means grace. Out of all of the championships that Tiger could have won, he won the Masters. The Masters is the pedigree of all other PGA tournaments. It is the top apex of all golf tournaments in the entire world. The entire world. The Masters is the most sought out and coveted championships of all time. Every golfer that's worth his salt, from minor golfers to major golfers, set their attention upon the Masters. It is the Super Bowl. It is the NBA championship. It is the NHL Stanley Cup of all tournaments. And out of all of the tournaments that he could have won, he won this one. This is his 5th Masters, but also his 15th major tournament, a major championship, his 15th. So one, you take 15, the number 15. Take that one. One means what from a biblical perspective? One means God. We serve one God, the Bible says. Yahweh, he is one God, the one true living God. So you take that 1 plus 5. What does 5 mean? 5 is the number of grace. 1 plus 5 = 6. What does 6 mean? 6 is symbolic of the number of man. So God gave grace to that man, Tiger Woods. On yesterday, April the 14th, 1 + 4 = 5, grace. He won his 5th Masters title. 5, the number of grace. He won the Masters. So that's telling me that this apex of all championships that is sought out and that's so coveted, that what used to master him before, now before the eyes of the world, you can master it now because you won the Masters. That makes you the top of all golfers. You are the master of golfing. You have the ability to master anything that comes your way. You have the ability and the authority to master the very thing that mastered you. Now let's hit the rewind button. For 11 years, this man had a drought in his life. For 11 years, nothing was happening of significant value as it relates to golfing in his life. He had not won a major tournament since 2008. So let's take a look at what has transpired in Tiger's life as we hit the rewind button. In growing up as a child, he set out to win not only the Masters, but to beat Jack Nicklaus' six all-time past championship. He said that I will ascend Jack Nicklaus, the great of all time. I will not just tie his record, but I will beat his record. So now he's down by 1. As a child, he grew up with his father Earl in teaching him the ways of golfing, invested in him, just as well as Michael Jordan's father invested in him. But in 2006, something happened. A loss occurred in his life. A trauma occurred in his life by way of grief and sorrow. Tiger lost his father, Earl. Now he has a void in his life. There is emptiness, although he's married at that time, but there's emptiness that's in his life. And so in not dealing with the loss, or not knowing how to deal with the loss, there was a void and darkness in his life. Now, we're not here to justify anything, but we're here to understand a thing, because the Bible tells us that wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, we ought to get it. And in all our getting, we ought to get understanding. And oftentimes we sit on the outside or stand on the outside ready to judge a matter, but it is God who is the ultimate judge. Rather than to gain understanding, to know why a person do what they're doing, and why have they developed this type of mindset or lifestyle. So we will prejudge a person, and prejudge is the root of prejudice. Prejudice means that I am going to judge, means to scrutinize or to analyze. Pre means before. So I am going to judge and scrutinize you as an individual before I analyze the facts, or before I begin to dive deep inside what is taking place, so that therefore my judgment can be righteous judgment and not a premature judgment that's prejudicial. So we look at Tiger, and Tiger was the punchline of all jokes. Comedians far and near had a Tiger Woods joke for you because of his infidelity, because of the multiple cheating and adultery that took place, because of his former wife Elin. When she found out about his cheating, she came at him with a golf club. Oh, there were so many jokes. Every late night host, every comedian had a joke about Tiger Woods. It was so funny to those that thought it was funny. His name was plastered on every tabloid, every newspaper, and in heavy rotation in the news. Tiger Woods, accused of multiple affairs, multiple cheating. Tiger Woods even had sex with a Waffle House worker. Tiger Woods is a sex addict. Tiger Woods cannot be trusted around women. He has a fetish for women. Tiger Woods. And so Tiger Woods now, known for his golfing skills, known for the fluidity of his overall techniques from a sports standpoint, now was known as the ultimate cheater. An adulterer, cannot be trusted. Not only that, during this 11-year drought in his life, it cost him his marriage. An old girl didn't have the grace on her life to stick it out. She was like, I'm out. It's just too much. Oh, and by the way, can I get that 25 mil as I go? So now we see Tiger Woods in the news yet once again. $25 million settlement goes to Elin. Now she's taking it back to Norway or back to wherever she's from to build her own, to embellish her own family, to embellish her own community. So now we see all of this taking place. And not only that, we see that that Tiger Woods was arrested. He was arrested in Palm Beach on DUI charges. Now we see him back in the news yet once again. His mugshot is placed on and placed inside every tabloid, on the front cover of every tabloid, in primetime heavy rotation in the media, on social media. We see the mugshot, and you can see the pain. You can see the bondage. You can see the shame in that man. You can see the addiction. And so he said that it was his DUI was not had nothing to do with any alcohol. It had nothing to do with any type of illegal substance, any illegal chemical dependency, but it had to do with the medications that tie into the fusion operation that he had, multiple operations. So now we see injuries that racked his body within the 11-year period. Hitting the tabloids once again, all on ESPN, Sports Center, the news network, golfing sport channels. Well, Tiger is a has-been. He's done. He used to be good, but now he's washed up. Can Tiger win another major championship? No, I don't think so. He's distracted. He's distracted by the infidelity. He's distracted by his divorce. He's distracted by multiple cheatings. He's distracted by all types of propaganda. He's distracted because of the injuries, the back fusion. He's washed up. He's no more. He's lost his swing. He has another swing coach now. He has another caddy. He has lost it. He lost his desire to win. He lost that fire. He lost even the fear that the other golfers had for him. Every time you would mention Tiger Woods, whenever he would walk in the clubhouse, it would get silent because the other golfers knew, I don't have a fighting chance in beating that dude. He lost it. All of this occurred in an 11-year span. But now we see that he came back. That setback caused him to bounce back with a comeback. So what am I saying here? Let's go ahead and just get down to the real deal. I don't just look at what occurred on yesterday as just a nice little storyline for the media, for The View, and all other type of talk shows to just give this Cinderella story of, oh, Tiger had so much going on and a lot of it was self-inflicted, but he won. Oh, now he's hugging his mom. The first major championship, he hugged his dad, Earl, when he was alive. They show that picture. And right beside it, he's hugging his mom because his father had passed away. Oh, what an awesome story. What a great story of a comeback. He buried his father, Earl, in an unmarked grave. Those who know Tiger, those who really know him, not those who think they know him, but those who really know him, know that he struggles with success. He has a problem with fame. He loves the game of golf, but he doesn't like the things that come with it and the temptations that evoke what is on the inside of him that's due to the brokenness, the trauma, and the grief. He struggles with fame. He's an introvert, not an extrovert like Michael Jordan, like Deion Sanders, and so many others. His retreat is within himself, along with the struggles and the battles that mastered him. Though he won the Masters on yesterday. He buried his father Earl in an unmarked grave. Many believe the reason why he did because he's a private person and he even wants his father to have a level of privacy. And it hit the fan some years back that Earl committed adultery on his mom, broke their heart, devastated the marriage, etc. And Tiger was always grieved that happened. But at the same time, he loved his dad because it was his dad, and his dad's participation in being a serviceman for the United States military. And Tiger had this obsession with training with the Navy SEALs. He would always train with the Navy SEALs. And in that, one of the Navy SEALs spokesmen said that Tiger is obsessed with a safe harbor, which tells me that he's always looking for a place of refuge and of safety. And I thought about that. I said, wow, this dude is worth $700 million. And he's looking, still searching for a place of safety. Got more money than the law allows, but doesn't feel safe. So what am I saying here? I don't know what has occurred in your life that was self-inflicted or was thrust upon you. I don't care what happened to you that was so devastating that it created a drought in your life. Maybe it was 11 years, like Tiger Woods. Maybe it was 12 years, like the woman with the issue of blood. Maybe it was 5 years. Maybe it was 25 years. Maybe it was 30 years, 3 years, 3 months. I don't know what your drought is today, but I will say this, that regardless of your drought, there is enough grace for you. That I'm looking at this, what has occurred on yesterday, as being a prophetic perspective. That just as God gave grace to Tiger, God can give grace to you. God can give grace to me. That whatever happened to him in his life, that God said, you know what? This is an opportunity for me to show the entire world that the very thing that mastered you, the addictions that mastered you, the grief that mastered you, the bondage that mastered you, the issues that mastered you, I am bringing you to a place of prominence so that you can master it. And the Bible reminds us, while I'm still on this grace, in Psalms chapter 23, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pasture. He leadeth me beside the still waters and restore my soul. In verse 5, of Psalms chapter 23 is very profound. Actually, in verse 2, I'll back up. In verse 2, he said, he makes me to lie down in green pasture. He leads me beside the still waters. Sometimes God will make you lie down. Sometimes we're just too arrogant. Sometimes we're just too greedy. Sometimes we're just bigger than life. We're so focused on self-aggrandizement. And sometimes God will just make us lie down. He will just allow certain things to happen to break us all the way down in order to come right back to build us up again. But now build us now with heaven's material that we can last. And in Psalms chapter 23, now you take the number 23, 2 plus 3 equals 5. We're still talking about grace. In verse 5, it says, still talking about grace, verse 5, that he prepares a table for me in the presence of my enemies. So what took place on yesterday will take place in your life. God is saying that out of all the things that has happened to you, people wrote you off. You were the punchline of every joke. You were the laughing stock of your city, in your state, in your community, in your family. People, they mocked and scoffed you. When they saw you coming, they would hiss. When they saw you coming, there was a smirk on their faces because of the things that have occurred to you. whether it was thrusted upon you or it was self-inflicted. But because of all of the detrimental things that have occurred in your life, I am going to prepare a table for you. Grace. Number 5. In the presence of your enemy, which means that I am going to now set a table for you. I'm going to bring out the utensils. I'm going to bring out the dishware and I'm going to fill it. I'm going to prepare a plate for you. A wholesome plate for you in the presence of all of those who mocked you, that will have a seat, several seats at the table, but they will not eat at the table. They will watch you as all of the mockers and scoffers around the world watch Tiger win that 5th Masters championship and his 15th major tournament. They all watched him hit the last shot. They were all around, not just around the greens, but they were around the world by way of watching him. They had the privilege to sit at his table. Well, God is saying that all of those individuals that mocked and scoffed and wrote you off, they're going to have several seats at the table that God has spread for you. They will sit and watch you eat. They will sit and not have privy to the grace that God has given you as it relates to a full course meal that is a long time coming out of the drought that you have experienced in your life. But they all will sit and watch you eat at the table that was spread for you, that's called grace, as you dine sufficiently. And so I just encourage you that during your drought period, that you don't throw in a towel. Tiger never threw in a towel, even though that many threw in a towel on him. Many wrote him off. He never gave up. Many called him an ex-golfer, but he kept going. He kept training. He kept believing. He kept showing up. You keep showing up. I don't care who comes and who goes. You keep showing up. You keep training. You keep believing in yourself. You keep believing in the God that made you, the one true living God that has created you for greatness, that has created you for divine purpose and a destiny and a destination that people are riding on to see hope in you by not throwing in the towel and by continuing to show up. He continued to show up in the midst of losing tournament after tournament after tournament, while people were still mocking him for losing and still mocking him because of his past. He outlasts his past. So I'm telling you, outlast your past. Outlast your past. Keep showing up. Keep training. Keep believing God. Don't you give up on yourself. Don't you ever throw in a towel on yourself. I don't care how many towels are thrown in on you. You better not throw in that towel. You keep believing God and watch God. Watch God receive all the glory from your story. And all those who just say, oh, this is so wonderful, and oh, such a comeback, oh, it's just so wonderful. Many of those were the same people that were talking about him behind his back. Well, you're going to always have those. Now, all of a sudden, they on your team and they riding with you. Like they're really ride or die, but they're really not. They're just jumping on that bandwagon. The same people that were in the crowd that told Pontius Pilate, we know that this man is innocent according to what you say, but he's guilty because of the fact that he is a disruption to our religious system that oppresses the mind of people. So we want Barabbas. We don't want Jesus. Well, listen, I'm telling you, this man is innocent. I don't care. We still want sin. We don't want salvation. So, with all that being said, don't you throw in a towel. You take advantage of God's grace to empower you to do what you cannot do in your own human ability or intelligentsia. Allow his grace to be the factor, the vital factor in your life, to display before others, not you, because it ain't about you. It ain't about me. It ain't about Tiger. This is about how great is our God to take us, and we're so undeserving. We're not deserving of his grace. We're deserving of his wrath and fiery indignation. But he would take your story and use it for a gracious glory for himself, that all others will see. That if it happened to him, if it happened to her, it can happen to me. I'm going to keep showing up and believing God, serving God, and following God to now receive glory, that he can receive glory for my story, but at the same time that I can master the very things that mastered me in my life. Peace and blessings. Love you to life.